on that note, fantasy football players gearing up for their drafts, and several Arizona Cardinal players have significant value, of course, in just about every league. But that's why we have Jeff Coruccini from Fantasy Football Starters with us to talk about ranking the cards and also other news in the NFL. So thanks for being here, Jeff.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
So we're going to jump out and talk about the Arizona Cardinal players, average draft position, as you talked about, Tess. Everybody wants to know where are the top Arizona Cardinal offensive players going. And so it starts with Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
He is being drafted on average in the first round of most drafts. Absolutely. And we actually predict him to probably have 100 catches, maybe 1,400 yards, and maybe 12 touchdowns. So he is an elite player. It's not going to change. Now, he may fight for some balls between him and Anquan Boldin. And Anquan Boldin is actually the next Arizona Cardinal player that's going anywhere between the 3rd round and the 4th round in drafts.
Okay, that's still pretty high, too.
Excellent. As a matter of fact, we're actually projecting Anquan Boldin to have about 1,100 to 1,200 yards and about 10 touchdowns. So between both those guys, they are going to do real well.
What are the chances someone can get both of these guys on their fantasy team?
You know, a couple of guys have tried. I was in a fantasy league draft last night, and somebody was trying to do that, actually.
That would be a good pairing.
Yeah, and then Kurt Warner.
Kurt
Warner is averaging in the 4th to 5th round, and a great pickup. As a matter of fact, in a draft last night, he was taken in the 4th round, so it kind of falls that way. We're projecting that he'll throw for about 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, going to have a great year, and he's going to be thrown to Anquan Boldin and Larry Fitzgerald. So.
And lots of people, of course, have their eyes on the new guy, Beannie Wells from Ohio State. Where do we think he's going to rank in the draft?
He's actually falling in the 4th and 5th rounds as well. But again, I mean, we're projecting this guy to have probably 1,000 yards and 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. And if you watched him play Thursday night, the kid has got a lot of talent. So the fact that they've got a running game now may even offset some of that passing.
So we have a pretty decent amount of high-ranking picks here.
Absolutely, and you got to look at the Cardinals. I mean, 4 of their players are in the top 100 positions in most drafts. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty exciting.
Tim Hightower is someone to watch over also.
Exactly. Tim Hightower, he's going to be fighting for some time with Beannie Wells, but again, a great pickup. Look for this guy probably to get anywhere between 400 and 600 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns. They're going to fight it out a little bit, but between he and Beannie Wells will be pretty good.
And what about, sometimes we forget about the wideouts like Steve Breaston.
Yeah, and you watched it. Steve Breaston is going to, man, Tess, you're coming up with some good picks here. Steve Breaston, you got early Doucette. Some of these guys are going to step it up a little bit, but Breaston is another player, going to get him in the late rounds, rounds 8 to rounds 12. You can pick him up. You can look for maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns and 500 or 600 yards. So another player.
When you're giving folks these tips, this is basically so you know how long you can hold out till you have to get somebody correct.
Or where you want to expect to get that player, right? Are you going to have to, if you want to get that player, here's where you're going to have to draft them. For example, Larry Fitzgerald, he went the 5th player taken in a draft with experts yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
Amazing, yeah.
All right, that's great. Well, thanks for those tips. Now, what about other news in the NFL? I know earlier we were talking about Mark Sanchez.
Yep, there's some quarterback news that this week the New York Jets named Sanchez as a starter. Great kid. They've got a very mature team. It's probably a good situation. Traditionally, you don't want to start rookie quarterbacks, Tess. They've got a good offensive line, good defense. He's going to start, probably looking at projecting him to have anywhere between 3,000 yards, maybe 15 touchdowns, maybe more interceptions, like 18 interceptions. And then the 49ers also named Shaun Hill as their starter this week.
Yeah, and we'll be facing them when the Cardinals do their home opener on September 13th.
Yep, and Hill's not a flashy guy. He competed with Alex Smith, but he, again, same as Sanchez, probably 3,000 yards passing, maybe 15 to 18 touchdowns, interceptions. But those are good guys.
And on the topic of quarterbacks, we don't want to forget about Tyler Thigpen, too. Where do you see him standing?
You are pulling it out. You know, actually, he's one player that they're probably going to trade. He's you know, in Kansas City, they signed Matt Castle. So this is one of those players that don't draft him high, but look for him to maybe move to another team. He's too good of a talent, so they're looking to trade him, and they've been shopping him around. And then last-minute news, real quick, is Brandon Marshall got suspended this week. And I'll tell you right now, he's going in drafts anywhere between rounds 10 and rounds 12. He's a steal. You don't know where he's going to play. He may play for Denver, he may not, but he's going to be a great pick, so pick him up in the later rounds.
Okay, we like when you give us those inside tips, so don't forget this person. All right, and finally, folks, we always have, of course, a fantasy football offer that you guys are doing for us, Jeff.
Exactly. Anybody that registers at our site at fantasyfootballstarters.com, go ahead and register only. And then if you email me, Jeff at fantasyfootballstarters.com, I will upgrade you to our premium package, $9.95 value, absolutely free. There you get all the tools you want. You get personalized alerts, power rankings. You can use our draft analyzer, our lineup and trade analyzer. We've got great tools. Take advantage of the free offer.
It's the time of the year when everybody there breathes and lives football. Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll see you next Sunday.
You got it, Tess.
Stay with us, folks.